The Princess and the Yam King. On the day the richest man in Mwagu won the right to marry the princess, the entire village cheered. But the princess screamed, "Father, there must be another way." The problem wasn't that the man was poor. The problem wasn't that he was cruel. The problem was that he was the most unattractive man she had ever seen. What nobody knew was that the man she rejected was hiding a secret that would change her life forever. Welcome to today's story. Deep in the green hills of Mwagu stood a kingdom famous throughout the land. People traveled from distant villages to witness its most important celebration, the New Yam Festival. For the people of Mwagu, yams were more than food. They were a symbol of hard work, prosperity, and honor. Every year, farmers gathered before the king to display the harvest they had worked for all season. The farmer with the greatest harvest earned wealth, respect, and a special reward. He would be given the chance to marry Princess Adiz. Princess Adiz was known throughout the kingdom for her extraordinary beauty. Her smile could brighten a room. Her elegance made people stop and stare. Young men dreamed of marrying her. Women admired her grace. But Adiz carried a secret dream in her heart. She imagined herself marrying a handsome warrior, a brave prince, a charming nobleman who looked as though he had stepped out of a story. Never once did she imagine marrying a farmer, especially not Obinna. Obinna owned the largest yam farms in the kingdom. His fields stretched farther than the eye could see. His barns overflowed with harvests every season. His workers respected him. His neighbors trusted him. Yet despite his success, many people laughed at his appearance. He was tall but awkward. His face was rough from years of working under the sun. He lacked the charm and elegance of the young nobleman who visited the palace. Whenever people spoke of handsome men, Obinna's name was never mentioned. And whenever Adiz looked at him, she quickly looked away. As the festival approached, excitement filled the kingdom. Farmers prepared their finest yams. Musicians practiced for the celebration. The marketplace buzzed with anticipation. Many believed one of the handsome noblemen would win. Adiz certainly hoped so. Then the festival finally arrived. The village square was packed with people. Colorful decorations hung from every corner. Drums echoed through the air. One by one, the farmers presented their harvests. The crowd gasped at enormous yams. They cheered for impressive displays. Contestants were eliminated one after another. Soon only a few remained. Then came Obinna's turn. Workers carried in piles of yams so large that whispers spread through the crowd. People stared in amazement. No one had ever seen a harvest this impressive. When the counting was complete, the result wasn't even close. Obinna had won by a landslide. The crowd erupted in celebration. Drums thundered. Villagers danced. The king stood proudly and raised his hand for silence. According to the tradition of Mwagu, he announced, "Obinna is the winner of this year's New Yam Festival." The crowd cheered again. Then the king spoke the words that changed everything. "Therefore he shall marry my daughter, Princess Adiz." The celebration instantly became quiet. All eyes turned toward the princess. Adiz's face turned pale. She stood up suddenly. "Father, there must be another way." Gasps spread across the crowd. No one had ever seen a royal challenge tradition in public. The king frowned. "My daughter, our traditions must be respected." "But father." The king raised his hand. "The decision is final." Humiliated and angry, Adiz stormed away. That night she couldn't sleep. How could she marry a man she didn't even find attractive? The next morning she made a decision. If she could prove Obinna was unworthy, perhaps her father would change his mind. Surely nobody was as perfect as people claimed. There had to be something he was hiding. So she secretly began watching him. For days she followed him from a distance. She expected to uncover greed, or dishonesty, or arrogance. Instead, she discovered something surprising. One afternoon, she watched him pay school fees for several orphan children. The children smiled with excitement. Obinna simply wished them well and walked away. Another day, she saw struggling farmers visit him. Their crops had failed. They needed help. Without hesitation, Obinna lent them seeds and tools. He asked for nothing in return. On another occasion, villagers came to him seeking advice. Some were worried about their farms. Others were facing family problems. Obinna listened patiently to each person. Everyone left feeling encouraged. Yet Adiz remained stubborn. There must be something he's hiding, she told herself. Then one evening, she overheard a conversation between some elderly villagers. What she heard shocked her. Years earlier, a terrible famine had struck Mwagu. Food had become scarce. Many families were on the verge of starvation. During that difficult time, Obinna had secretly sold most of his possessions. He used the money to buy food for struggling families. He never asked for recognition. He never told anyone. Most people never even knew where the food came from. Adiz was stunned. Even her father had never heard the full story. For the first time, she began to question her judgment. Maybe she had been wrong. But before she could fully process what she had learned, another problem emerged. The rain stopped. Weeks passed without a single drop. The rivers began shrinking. The crops started drying up. Fear spread throughout Mwagu. People worried another famine was coming. Many wealthy men locked away their food supplies. Some refused to share what they had. Others raised prices to protect their fortunes. But Obinna did something completely different. He opened his barns. He invited villagers to take what they needed. He shared his harvest with families across the kingdom. Day after day, food left his storage houses. Day after day, hungry families returned home with hope. Because of Obinna's generosity, nobody in Mwagu went hungry. The kingdom survived the drought. And for the first time, Adiz truly saw him. Not the shape of his face. Not the roughness of his hands. Not the things she once mocked. She saw his kindness, his courage, his wisdom, his selflessness. The very qualities she had always dreamed of finding in a husband. The qualities that mattered far more than appearance. When the drought finally ended, the king called another gathering. Before the entire kingdom, he turned to his daughter. "My child," he said, "do you now accept this marriage?" The crowd held its breath. Everyone waited. Adiz slowly stepped forward. She looked at Obinna. Then she smiled. A genuine smile. Not because tradition demanded it. Not because her father expected it. But because she finally understood who Obinna truly was. "Yes, father," she said. "I accept." The crowd erupted into cheers. But this time Adiz joined them. Their wedding became one of the greatest celebrations Mwagu had ever seen. Yet the most important thing the kingdom gained that year was not a wedding. It was a lesson. A lesson that people told for generations. Beauty fades. Status changes. Wealth can disappear. But character remains. Princess Adiz learned that true worth is not found in appearance, popularity, or charm. It is found in kindness, integrity, humility, and the way a person treats others when nobody is watching. Because sometimes, the greatest treasure is hidden where few people think to look. And those who judge only by appearances may miss the very thing they have been searching for all along.